Why is Donald Trump so interesting? Why is Donald Trump so polarizing? It's because his duality is in his ego. And that is super, super, super rare. Most people have their duality in between their soul and their ego. So if they're living more of a, selfless, positive vibe, look out for others, vibe, then they're most likely living closer to their soul and their energy, right? Closer to heaven. And if they're living a selfish, me, hatred, anger life, then they're closer to their ego. Trump's duality is strictly in his ego. So what's hard is your perception of Trump is affected by your own ego because his duality is in his ego. So he's an extremely hard person to read. And it's really hard to see him in a pure sense because you would have to remove your ego to be able to see and understand him. So that's why he's so polarizing, because once again, it's just a view from your own ego. And it's a really hard concept, and that's the best way I can explain it with my current, where I'm at today, and my growth where I'm at today. And I saw him like 10 plus years ago in person, and that was kind of my read. I was like, okay, that's interesting. And I still think today it's the same thing. Now, I think something just changed with this crazy event that just happened last week where a person tried to take his life. I think maybe I'm curious if we'll see some type of change in him. But I want to touch on this topic was when he got elected, I was like, he could actually become probably a pretty amazing president if he puts the goodness in the country in his good side of the ego, because he's the type of guy who will make it his life's mission to make the country great again. Right? Because the ego, once again, is all about self-recognition, self-power, and increasing yourself. That's what the ego does. It's a becoming more physical, more powerful, more attraction to myself. That's what the ego is. And if he puts the country in the right side of his own ego, then most likely he would make decisions that are good for the country and good for America. But once again, you view that from your own ego, and that's why it's such a hard energy read. But, it's the perception of, okay, if Trump makes America his company and it's his pride on the line, then he will make decisions in the best interest of the company, aka the country. Okay, now let's jump into what I think happened with this crazy, person trying to take his life, whatever situation. Is in life, when you face adversity, I call it God knocking on the door moment. And once we all get to a certain point where we need to take the next step in our journey, usually we have this crazy, intense moment of some kind. And it's God knocking on the door. Okay, time to step up, time to move on, time to grow, time to, move forward. And my guess is when Trump came here to Earth, his journey was to master duality in the ego physical sense. And in my opinion, he's done that. So now it's like, okay, man, my guess is his journey and his, guardian angel and God and his soul are like, hey, let's now learn about how to live a little bit more with our soul. And that would be my guess of what that challenging experience was. Just my take on it. I know it's a crazy topic, could be controversial, hopefully not. But I did want to come on here and just state just an interesting person. And I completely understand why he's polarizing. I understand why people like him. I understand why people hate him. Interesting person, interesting topic. All right, please like and subscribe. We're just getting going here. Appreciate everyone's time. We'll keep it going.